Hello, listeners. Welcome to yet another inspiring episode of our mini series on near death experience with Dr. Rajiv Sinha. Hariom, Dr. Rajiv Sinha,
Hariom.
and welcome to the Awakening Trail.
Glad to be here. Thank you so much for having me, and greetings to all your viewers. Hi.
Yeah, thank you. So I think it is getting day by day exciting. Every episode unearths one or the other, uh, either a very deep concepts, and the answers from you are helping us get to know it really in a better way. So I think with that, I will head towards today's series of questions. Predominantly, what I see them are around karma and dharma.
Right.
So, yeah, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm I'm ready as ready can be.
You're always
Yeah,
ready.
yeah.
All right. So here goes the first question. Is there any punishment if I do bad karma? And if there is no punishment, then why would anyone try to be good and do good karma?
Uh, I think to understand this, you have to get the basic fundas of what are karma and dharma. Okay.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I think before we start this, let me put a little thing over here. Is that the subjects of karma and dharma have been discussed in so many spiritual treatises by so many enlightened people. So much has been written on them, and they are very, very deep subjects. Okay. I don't think a half an hour podcast can in any way even throw light on 0.5%. Nor is my understanding and intellect, right, anywhere near that of people who've written commentaries on it. People have done a lot of research, people have done a lot of have used a lot of spiritual understanding to appreciate and understand what is karma and dharma, right? My understanding is undoubtedly still imperfect, right? But it is has to be, because so much has been written by so many people who are much more spiritually advanced than I am. So um but in view of how my understanding has been shaped by the near death experience is what I can discuss with you, right? There are many aspects, and I would advise any of your viewers, if they're really interested in the concepts of karma and dharma, Google it or go listen to the enlightened masters, okay? And you will get much more insight than what you will get. But here, on a personal scale, let's have a look at this, okay? So now you have your dharma and your karma. And there are very big catchwords nowadays. Everyone is into dharma and karma, so one has to be a little careful. But anyway,
Yeah, before you actually answer this, I think what I also feel the question might have come is also, and I'm confident that your experience of past so many years will add to it. But at the same time, I think it also has to do with a perspective of your near death experience, because you have a very different angle or a lens, to look at this subject than any one of us. So I think that's where the user must have asked this question, is what I also strongly feel.
okay, that is appreciated. And like I've always said, your post near death experience or post any spiritual experience, right? You have to action it. Just having an experience is not enough. Okay, by
Yeah.
itself, like for example, the near death experience. Now, by itself, it's a wonderful thing. Question is, what did you make of it? I mean, how did it change? How did you allow it to change your life? Right? You
Yeah.
you can have a transformative. You can have transformative experiences, wonderful experiences. You can suddenly be sitting and watching this beautiful sunset, right? Or you may suddenly get struck by a beautiful thought or a very enlightening thought. The question is, after that, how do you action it? Yeah. So,
Hmm.
which brings us to dharma, because after all, what is dharma? Dharma is the righteous path. This is a word which is used in Buddhism as well as Hinduism. Is the righteous
Yeah.
path, right? Huh? Or it is basically, you could also say it's your spiritual duty, right? And
Okay.
your karma, right, is basically the universal law of cause and effect.
Okay.
Cause and
Okay.
effect. These are the two defining uh, the two definitions of karma and dharma, right? Now,
Right.
if you look at it another way, dharma provides you with a sort of a framework, okay, of moral conduct.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dharma provides you with a framework, right, of what moral of because it's action. Dharma is
Yeah.
action, okay? So it provides you with a framework of how you act or behave morally, right? And karma, right, is the spiritual accounting of the actions that happen. Okay,
Correct.
so
Okay.
you're looking at a framework, right? And in the framework,
Mm-hmm.
which is dharma, you have karma intertwined it, right? Now, after, what is karma? Karma is basically the intermixing of living energies. Okay, that
Yeah. Yeah.
is karma. You see, karma particularly is not a singularity.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Dharma is your personal thing. You have to take personal accountability for whatever action you're doing. So dharma is a personal thing, but karma is not. Karma is multiple people. You need, I mean, whether you're having a spiritual interaction with another human being, with an animal, with a bird, with an insect, with a tree, with a forest, with a mountain, right? It is always not singularity. That is
Mm-hmm.
karma. Karma always entails the spiritual energy of another living creature. Okay,
Right.
so that is a basic difference. So when we are looking at karma, basically means action, right? Now, whether this is physical action or it's mental action, both are very important, right? So what you do and even how you think, right, guides your karma.
Okay.
It's not merely things that you do which affect your karma. It is even how you think that guides your karma.
Yeah.
That is my understanding of it, right? And now, this there is a this cause and effect in karma, right, are the two main things, that for everything that you do there is a response, right? Like Newton's law, yeah, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's nothing more than basically a karmic statement, right, that anything that you do has consequences. All right,
Yes.
right. So there is a personal responsibility you have to take for your karmic actions. It's personal, right. And basically, dharma is your duty. Dharma is your duty. Now, I'm just putting down the framework before I get into answering the question of whether good karma, bad karma, good dharma, bad karma. Okay, so now,
Yeah.
when you're talking of dharma, it is basically, it's a duty, right? It is a the righteousness, the righteous path, the correct way, right, of behavior, the correct way of interaction with other people, right, with everything else, right, and. You think about it, it works out. I'm talking of dharma now, right? It works out in the Hindu system with the four stages of life that we talk about. There are four stages in life, which we talk
Okay.
about, right? And they are called ashramas, right? So
Correct.
now,
Yeah.
you know about this. The first one is called the brahmacharya ashram. Number two is the grahastha, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Number three is the vanaprasth, and the last is the sannyas. Right now, with each one, the first one, you're a student, you're in the learning phase, which works out beautifully till the age of 20 years, 25 years. Your mind is fresh, your mind is clean, your mind is clear, your mind is receptive, and anything that you learn goes into it, right, and is stored over there. Number two, when you come into the grihastha means to say you have a family, you have a profession, then you utilize whatever learning went into the brahmacharya phase. Whatever learning went in, right, is then utilized in the grihastha, right? Okay, then you come into the vanaprastha, which was actually means that you have to gradually withdraw, right, from
Mm-hmm.
whatever you have done over the last 20-25 years during a grihastha ashram, which lasts for about 20-25 years, right? You have utilized the learning of the first 20 years. So 20 years,
Correct.
20 years, to, or is it 25 years, 25 years, 25 years, you can take it either way. But in the
Mm.
third phase, right, you are now going to withdraw from whatever you've done, right? And the last phase, right, and the sannyas, you completely leave everything. Right. Okay.
Okay.
So we have this framework now, right? Now, good karma, bad karma. Okay. Now I have say, for example, why should you do good karmas if ultimately, as the ND people say, you're in a non-judgmental place?
Correct.
Okay. Now, remember one thing here, right? Which becomes very painfully obvious when you have an NDE, is that there is nobody else sitting over there judging you. I mean, there is no old man with this beard, right, and this fat book open, right, and like a voyeur, he's been checking everything that you've been doing in your life. There's no such thing. Okay,
There is no Chitragupt.
there's no Chitragupt. right? The judge is you yourself.
Right. Yeah.
That is the realization that you have when you realize, when you have an NDE, there is no second party to judge you. Because after
Mm-hmm.
all, who knows best, right? Why you
Then you.
behave in a certain way? You.
Yeah.
Nobody can go into the finest details of why you behaved in a certain way. Well, you behaved badly, you behaved evilly, you behaved nicely, whatever it was, right? You yourself are the best judge, right?
Hmm.
So you realize this when you have your NDE, that ultimately you are going to be asked to judge yourself.
Correct.
You are going to judge yourself and your actions. Now, if the basic idea, right, is that we have to move beyond the limitations and move beyond the things that we've done in this lifetime, progress beyond what we have done here, right? Then you have to have a look at what you have done. Okay. So now,
Yeah.
you have done certain actions, right? Good, bad, whatever it is. Like supposing they're bad actions. Like supposing I was bad to somebody, or say I physically abused or harmed somebody, right? Or say, for example, I got into some financial transactions which resulted in a lot of people getting hurt, getting broke, losing their homes, losing their livelihoods. Okay, ऐसा भी होता है, ठीक है ना? So the thing is, as Dharma says, there is going to be an accountability, as Karma said,
Mm-hmm.
because you behaved in a particular way, right? There has to be an accountability for how you behave, right? But if you waste your time and energy, right, on thinking ki bhai, uh, okay, you did bad to somebody, all right? Now, why should you waste your time in thinking, right, that I'm going to avenge myself, or that person is going to avenge himself on me, or you've been done badly by, right? Why would you waste
Mm-hmm.
your time? Because for him, his accountability is separate, yeah. His accountability is his own, right? Leave it be. His spiritual energy, his living energy, interacted with you like there was an interaction with millions and millions of people and living souls in this lifetime. They interacted with you, right? But ultimately, right, everybody has their own karma to live out. No, you can't mesh.
Correct.
I can't mesh. I can. You and I are doing this podcast, right? Basically, right, our karmas are meshing, right? Anybody who's listening
Yeah.
to this and is getting affected by it, our karmas are meshing, right? But ultimately,
Yeah.
what you do with this karma is your trip, no, not mine.
Correct.
Okay, which is why the with the responsibility that goes with people like a prime minister or a president or a general, right? The responsibility, the karmic responsibility is huge. It's not just one or two people who you're affecting. I mean, if you are a bad father in a household of three, right? Then basically your karmic effect is going to be on another two people. If you're a corrupt politician, right? Your karmic footprint is massive, because something that
Yeah.
you do, it affects millions of people, isn't it? Huh? So
Yeah.
question comes down to good karma and bad karma, right? If you don't do good karma, right, if you don't do good karma, then ultimately there will be an accountability and you will judge yourself, right? And you will have to be in this works out beautifully in the whole area of reincarnation, because if there is no judgment and there is only improvement happening from life after life, which is what you
Mm-hmm.
understand in ND, right? That there is something,
Yeah.
there is in the reincarnation, you are going to be born there that many more lifetimes. There is going to be that much more time in the dark space we talked about.
Yes.
Okay, huh? So it all works out. Works out very sequentially, right? So yes, if you are in a situation where you're not acting dharmically, okay, हाँ, एंड बिकॉज यू थिंक कि भाई अल्टीमेटली ये तो डॉक्टर सिन्हा ने बोल दिया था कि और सब एनडीए वाले बोलते हैं कि कोई जजमेंट ही, तो मुझे जो करना है लेट मी डू वॉट एवर आई वांट अल्टीमेटली, यस बट देयर इज अ कॉन्सिक्वेंस. You may
Mm-hmm.
not be condemned, right? But you yourself will have to pay the price. You yourself will have to
Correct.
take birth a couple of million times more to get over a small thing. So the idea is to keep your negative karma footprint as small as possible
Yeah.
and to try and increase your positive actions, right? So you're not accumulating negative karmas.
Yeah. And then you're so that your journey to the light or to your own source or
Yes,
your own self
yes.
becomes very easy and very fast.
That's right. This is what the whole concept of moksha is about. That you don't take birth anymore because you've exhausted your karmas. Okay. The problem is that you're picking up karmas every single second of your life. Even if you're
Yeah.
sitting still and doing nothing, even then you're picking up karmas. Okay.
Yeah, and even many people say that, right? Even what you think also, it's just not like what you act, right? What you think also adds up to your karma. This mind is definitely, a collection of so many good and bad thoughts. So definitely we are adding up to the pile of karmas
Yeah.
every second in our thoughts too.
Yeah. And then dharma is basically to my mind, dharma basically works like your guidance. Okay. Because it's a personal thing. You know what you're doing is right or wrong. Whether you acknowledge it, right? Whether you go through with it, whether you abort it, right? Is basically personal choice, right? What
Yeah.
you say, free will. Right now, many people have the massive debate: ki, bhai, does free will really exist, or is it all
Mm.
preordained? No, free will does exist. You can change your future, right? In this lifetime, right? You can, because if it's possible that you can change your future in this lifetime, then certainly with positive actions, right? You can change your next lifetime also.
Absolutely.
So that is my take on this. Yeah.
It is definitely clear. Like, I'll tell you how. So very beautifully explained, in my opinion, because see, what I am realizing is episode after episode, I think we are trying to close that loop or the circle. Like, in today's episode or this answer also, I realized ultimate goal is of detachment. We spoke about detachment in our previous episode as well, right? How you
Yes.
get detached.
Yeah.
And we also spoke about life itself is in a dark phase. We are living in a dark era and we have to go towards the light. So after all, until and unless we correct our karmas, we act in a righteous way. Otherwise, it is getting delayed and delayed. So this is very well put, Dr. Sinha. And I think with this, I'll ask you the next question from our user, which says, I think predominantly all of them are karma related questions today. Interestingly, this question says, let's assume that if I am in a bad relationship with my spouse or my children or my parents, how will it affect my karma?
See, I think the effect of close relationships is maximum, right? I mean, I may not like President Trump, okay,
Mm-hmm,
all right, but the things that he does or things that he says, right, affect me, but in a remote way. Okay,
correct.
right? But if my wife says something to me, or if my behavior with my wife, or my interaction with my wife or my parents is bad, that affects me immediately because they are close to me. I physically close, mentally close.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
Yeah.
if you are in a troubled relationship with people who are very close to you, right, then it is certainly going to have some effect, right, on your karma, right? Because
Mm.
this is all a question of interaction, right? If somebody is negative towards you, you're not, I mean, almost nobody is able to turn the other cheek and say, "Theek hai," right? You may be nasty to me, but I will continue to be. You react. It's called reactivity, right? If somebody is
Yeah.
nasty to you, you're nasty in return. If somebody is nice to you, you are sometimes, mostly, you are nice in return, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, if
Yeah.
you are, so these are intimate relationships, right? You have said three. Yet the person may be in a bad space with husband or wife or children or parents, right? These
Parents. Yeah.
these are the closest relationships that a human being has.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it you may be in a bad relation with your boss, right? That is two or three steps removed from there. You may be a bad relation with your local MLA. Okay, that's even further removed, right? Parents, spouses, and children, right, are the closest relationship you have. So they affect your karma almost immediately, not for anything else, but because of your own reactions.
Yeah.
Okay, their reactions are going to be, I mean, the reason why you're in a bad relationship, I mean, there is always justification. We human beings are fantastic at justification, right? I'm behaving like this because this was done to me. Okay.
Yeah.
Or I'm doing this because this was done to me, right? So we are great at justifying. So whether it's a good action, mostly we are very fond of justifying our negative traits. I am like
Correct.
this because this was done to me. I mean, a murderer says, like, I picked up this gun and I shot 15 people in this study, in this church, right? Because I was abused when I was a child, or I was
Mm.
insulted when I was a child by XYZ person, right? So I'm taking this action, right? So justifications are always there. Even a murderer can have many justifications. Okay.
Yeah.
You can't get away from it. We are very good at justifying, right? But justification doesn't excuse everything, nah. Justification is a built up thing. It's like a protective mechanism.
Yeah.
Okay. But the fact is it's a consequence. You ultimately have to face the consequence of these actions, isn't it? A soldier. A soldier, his duty is to go into the battlefront, pick up a weapon, and fight another soldier. So, in which means he's taking somebody's life,
Yeah.
right? Now, if under normal circumstances you take a person's life, it's called murder.
Correct.
Okay. But if you go on the battlefield and kill somebody, it's called courageous action.
Mm.
Why? After all, it's a life you're taking.
Yeah.
So why should a soldier not be called a mass murderer? If with your rifle you poofed off 5 or 6 people, right? If you'd been in Civvy Street and you poofed off 5 or 6 people, you'd be in a jail, or you'd be, assigned to the gallows before you know what's happening,
Yeah.
isn't it? There's justification here for it. Society makes the justification. Okay, even a soldier has to make a choice, right? That by I am going. This is my that comes into the realm of dharma. My dharma
Right.
is to protect my homeland. My dharma is to protect my family, my people, my culture, my whatever it is, my kingdom, my king's kingdom, right? The social structure I live in. My duty is to protect them. Now I have to protect them one way or the other. So if it means that I have to go and kill somebody or take somebody's life, so be it,
Yeah.
isn't it? Huh? So that basically accounts for it. That if you are in a negative situation, right, with your close ones, certainly is going to affect your karma in a negative way. So your duty is to try and again, with empathy, try and understand why you are in a negative relationship. Nothing will justify that. Why are you in a negative relationship? What was the root cause of this? Go to the root
Mhm.
cause. Go to the root cause, and the answer will lie there.
Yeah.
You have to make the effort, right, of trying to find. Most of us don't. I mean, most of us justify, right? Yeah, I'm in a bad relationship because XY this happened. But ek haath se, as we say, tali nahi bajti hai. It always takes
Yeah.
two to tango. So there is ultimately going to be, if you go back far enough into a particular situation, you'll find that your personal involvement was there. You said something happened in the interaction between you and your spouse, which has led to this problem today, which has festered over the last 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 50 years, whatever it is, isn't it? Right? So
Yeah.
you have to go and find the root cause of what's the problem, and with empathy, try and sort it out before you die, right? Because it can be one of the things that hold you back.
Yeah.
You don't want that to happen, isn't it? Right? So
Yeah.
this is one of the detachments, so to speak. This is
Correct.
one of the detachment, isn't it? Huh? This is another way
Yeah.
of
Yes.
detachment. But if you're in a bad relationship, right, or even in a meeting, then you should try and find out as to what exactly happened, so that this can be another chapter which is closed before you come to the final breath.
So true. Or maybe don't react, right? The moment you react, only then it adds up to your bad karma, or your negative side of karma. So it is better not to react in situations like this, and maybe take a pause, take as you rightly said, go in, analyze where it all went wrong, and try to look at it with empathetically. So yeah.
A
Yeah.
lot of
So
people
with
say,
this.
it's reactivity, and they say that before you react to anything, right, any provocation, take a deep breath, count to
Yeah.
10, count till 10, right, and then open your mouth, if at all.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
The most successful
Yeah.
people are the ones that take their own sweet time to answer a particular question, or who
Yeah.
take their own sweet time to think about what they are going to say. Hmm?
So true. So pauses at the right time also are very helpful, is what I'm also learning
Yeah.
at the moment. I'm doing some course. So in that course, they teach us, don't answer immediately, don't speak fast.
Yes.
You take pauses. That will give you an opportunity to process the information hear and then you speak.
Yes.
So yeah, it's a very, very, very important point, Dr. Sinha. And now, with your permission, I'm moving to the last question. I think which you have already answered, when you were answering the first question. But in case if you want to give any example or anything to answer this, the last question says, explain karma and dharma in detail.
I think we've already
You've
gone into
already
that.
explained. Yeah, yeah. So do you have anything to add to it?
Well, no, I don't. I think at my level, I think this is approximately all that one can tackle with. There are lots of books on karma and dharma.
Any favorite book of yours that you would like to recommend the listeners on this topic?
No, nothing like that. Yeah, because some books are simple and some books are
Yeah,
difficult, right? The Bhagavad Gita, of course, provides you with the most basic understanding, right, of dharma and karma. And then
yeah,
enlightened people have taken what is written over there, right, and taken it on. I will say one thing though, right? Many years ago, I came across a treatise, a book that said that the one way of breaking your karmas, of breaking your past karmas, because with every lifetime you bring the karmas into a next lifetime, right?
yeah,
अभी तुम
yeah.
पुराने वाले कर्मास कैसे तोड़ोगे? Because there are types and types of karmas, right? I mean, there is something called a prarabdha karma, right? Which is sitting like a egg, or which is sitting like a incipient egg in your atma, right? Come the correct time in the correct lifetime, and that will photo. You can't do nothing about it, right? It's something that you
Correct.
accumulated many lifetimes ago, right? The
Mhm,
karmas of
mhm.
most of the karmas of this lifetime will be taken care of in this lifetime itself. The consequence, like I said, right? But there are many things that you're carrying, you don't even know you're carrying, because you've been born billions of times before. Okay, from that initial stage to now, you've been born billions of times. All right. So, what karmas you're carrying? What is an incipient karma? How will you ever be able to understand that? Right. So, how do you get out of it? Now, this is basically the thing that I heard and I think that I practice. It is said by the Hindu sages that the chanting of the mantra Om,
Okay.
okay, right, is one thing that breaks your old karmas.
Wow.
Okay, that gets rid of old karma. So supposing you say ki Om chanting, of course, Om is a universal mantra. Normally,
Yeah.
a mantra is a personalized thing that is given to you by your guru, because he's able to see your aura. He's able to understand where your spiritual uh, self is going. Right. So he gives you the correct mantra which is meant for you. Right. But if you don't have a guru, if you've not had the luck to find a guru, one of the things that you can do is always chant the mantra Om.
Mm.
Right? Now,
Okay.
the chanting of this is also, the Om is let's look at it one way. If you Google and you go on to the sound of creation, I'm just saying, sound of,
Yeah.
when the universe came into being, right? A few milliseconds after the universe came into being, the scientists have worked out what is the sound that comes on, right? It sounds like Om. It's a rising cadence which comes down, right? So it's like okay, it rises and it gently comes down. Okay. So now, if you look at it just with this one thing, then maybe, right, the sound Om connects you to the very point of creation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And maybe because you have been accumulating karma since the point of creation,
Yeah. I'm sure.
right?
Yes.
It takes you back to that root. Okay. And maybe that's how it works. Right? There are a lot of things to Om. There are a lot of things to Om. The way it's supposed to be chanted is a very specific way. It can be chanted in different ways. There are three to the mantra Om. There are three basic sounds: O,
Oh.
and M. Right?
Wow.
The
Yeah.
starts from your belly, the O is in your throat, the M is from your lips ultimately. Right? Each one should be given equal amount of time. Right? There are things that connected with chakras and this, that, the other. You don't get into all those complications, right? But that's the way it's supposed to be chanted. If you increase, say, the m or increase the it has different effects on you. So by and large, you should try and keep all the three sounds together. And chant it 108 times a day. Use a mala, chant it 108 times a day. It can't do you any harm. It will certainly make you calm. Yeah, won't do you harm, only makes you calm, right? So check it out, right? Fine, it takes, how long will it take? It'll take about 15 minutes maximum. Okay.
Correct.
And I say to many people that, many people say, "अरे, इतना time कहाँ है योगा करने के लिए? I don't have the time to do yoga. It's so much." I say to people that if in 24 hours you haven't got the, half an hour to devote entirely to yourself, right? Away from your family, away from your business, away from your pets, away from the society, then what sort of a life are you leading? You have to be able to say,
Exactly.
"Okay, I can give myself an hour or 2 hours every day for myself." Out of 24
Correct.
hours, थोड़ा तो देना चाहिए ना? So if you're going to do an Om chanting or if you're going to do some yoga, give it 15-20 minutes a day, give it half an hour a day.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have to,
Start small.
yeah,
Start small.
prioritize yourself, at some point, because we all tend to get so caught up in the roles that we are in, you know, of a parent, of a, father, a mother, a spouse, right? Somebody who's doing a lot of business or, responsibility. We forget about ourselves. You have to give
Yeah.
yourself, I mean, one of the things that you must do is give yourself the space, right? To look after yourself. Okay? And the,
Lovely.
huh? Okay. Yeah.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much. I mean, this was very insightful. And what I am realizing now after these many talks with you, your nuskas are very simple, right from the meditation tip that you gave in the episode first, I believe, and today's tip as well is very useful, very simple. Like, I'm confident that all of us can spend 5 minutes of time for
That's
ourselves
right.
or maximum 10 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. And you go.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sinha. Yes, let's continue this conversation on our next episode.